Alright, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be going over UFC 299, Sean O'Malley versus Chito Vera 2. I'm going to be going over the important fights on the card, because there's a couple of no-names on here, I'll be real. Not no-names, just people that I don't know and I don't really care about. So, let's get started. So for this card, I'm going to be going over a lot more fights than I usually would be, because there's a lot of good fights on this card. But anyways, let's get started. Robust Hispanian versus Josh Parisian. This is going to be a good fight right here, but it's going to be a one-sided fight. Robust Hispanian is going to knock out Josh Parisian probably in under a minute. I mean, Josh Parisian, he's just your basic mid-heavyweight. That's not good. It should be an easy debut for Robust Hispanian. If he doesn't get it done in a minute, then he's going to get it done in the first round for sure. Now, Josh Parisian, all he could really try and do was survive, and then maybe Robust Hispanian would gas out. But that's really his only chance, and I don't see him surviving past the first round. So, Robust Hispanian, first round KO, that's what I would put my money on. I don't bet, but if I were to bet, I would put my money in Robust Hispanian. But yeah, so maybe if he was fighting someone like Muhammad Usman, Justin Tafa, Junior Tafa, someone like that, maybe it'd be like, okay, he might lose, it's possible, but it's unlikely. With Josh Parisian, I really don't see Josh Parisian having a chance in this fight unless he's able to survive the first round. That's all Josh Parisian can really try and do, survive the first round, hope Robust Hispanian has a bad gas tank, and then maybe he could TKO him, but I'm going with Robust Hispanian to finish this one in the first round. If not the first minute, definitely the first round. Very confident in Robust Hispanian to get this one done. Moving up the card, Michael Pereira versus Mikel Aliv. I can't pronounce his last name. I'm just gonna call him Polish dude. Michael Pereira. He recently moved up to middleweight. I think he's 1-0 at middleweight. So he won one fight at middleweight. And yeah, he won a first round knockout. He was decent at welterweight too. And welterweight's a much more skilled division than middleweight. Like, you got to look at when Kelvin Gastelum moved down to welterweight. He got absolutely ragdolled by Sean Brady, who isn't even like one of the best fighters. He's one of the best, but he's not even top 5 at that weight class. And going into that fight with Kelvin Gastelum and Sean Brady, a lot of people expected Kelvin Gastelum to piece up Sean Brady on the feet, but Sean Brady was just able to ragdoll him. So I feel like welterweight is a much more skilled division than middleweight, or maybe not, but decently more skilled than middleweight. And if Michael Pereira is having a lot of success with the unranked guys there, I think he could definitely beat Mikel Ulag, fucking Poland guy. He can definitely beat the Polish guy. Now, I do know a little bit about this Polish guy. I'm pretty sure that I heard he's tough. He's a tough fighter. But, man, Michel Pereira, I think he could get it done in the first round. Because Michel Pereira's got a lot of power. He throws a lot of crazy shots. So he definitely has a possibility to get it done in the first round. And if he doesn't, I just feel like he's a more skilled fighter. So even if he gasses out, I could see him doing enough to get the second. And even if he loses the third, he still wins at 29-28. So Michel Pereira, I say first round knockout or 29-28. Maybe second round knockout, but first or second round knockout or a 29-28 decision. I don't see him being able to knock out Mikel Ugle, fucking Poland guy, in the third round, because this guy is kind of tough, and he has decent cardio. So I see Michel Pereira winning this one though. Don't care about them, so skip that one. Pedro Munhoz versus Kyler Phillips. Pedro Munhoz is kind of the gatekeeper of this division. Kyler Phillips, I don't know a lot about him, but I do know he beat Song Yadong, and I do know when Pedro Munhoz can put in fights like this, where he's fighting the unranked guy coming off a loss to one of the top guys, he usually wins. That's the pattern if you look at Pedro Munhoz's career. He's a good gatekeeper, and I think someone like Kyler Phillips, who doesn't have a ton of hype, who hasn't done anything super special, he's not a crazy fighter, I don't think he's going to have a lot for Pedro Munhoz. I mean, Pedro Munhoz has got good leg kicks, solid power, very tough. He's almost impossible to knock out. I don't think he's ever been knocked out in his entire career. Or I know he hasn't been knocked out in his entire career. I remember looking at those stats. And, man, Kyler Phillips, I just don't see him being able to do anything to Pedro Munhoz. Just look at his career. He fights a top guy. Like, he always loses to those top guys. The top 8 to number like 3, 4, 5. Like, when he fights those guys, he always loses to them. Or most of the time loses to them, I think. But recently, I forget who he fought. He fought some unranked guy or someone that was like 15 or 14, and he was able to beat them. So I think it'll be a good fight. Maybe Kyler Phillips could win. I wouldn't be super surprised. He's a decent fighter, but I'm gonna pick Pedro Munhoz by decision. I think a somewhat competitive decision. So yeah, Pedro Munhoz by decision. That's who I'm picking for this fight. Mateus Gamrot versus RDA. I think Gamrot's definitely going to win this one. RDA he wasn't even able to take down Vicente Luque, and whenever he tried to, Vicente Luque would just get on top of him and control him on the ground. So if Vicente Luque is doing that to you, Gamrot, who arguably outgrappled Arman Sarukian, and he's on a decent win streak right now. A lot of them are flukes and split decisions, but they're still over guys that are probably a lot better than RDA. So yeah, I got Mateus Gamrot winning probably a 30-27. Even on the feet, man, Gamrot's striking didn't look bad in the Fiziev fight. I know Fiziev was starting to warm up, but I didn't even watch RDA versus Fiziev, but I don't think he was ever having the success that Gamrot had. So I'm picking Gamrot by decision. I think he's gonna win everywhere the fight goes. I think he's a better grappler. Maybe Prime RDA would win, but I'm picking Gamrot by a decision, 30-27, beating him everywhere. But maybe RDA can try and find some success on the feet. I think that's his path to victory. If he can defend the takedowns and maybe catch him on the feet, find some success, that's his path to beating Gamrot, but I just don't see it happening. So moving to the main event of the prelims, Curtis Blaydes versus Jolton Almeida. That's a 50-50 fight right there. Man, with Curtis Blaydes, I think if he can keep this one on the feet, he should be able to piece up Jolton Almeida, maybe even find a finish, maybe even catch him. But Jolton Almeida's got some good grappling. He's strong. He's got good takedowns. He's got some decent submissions. I know in his last fight it didn't look like that, but I'm sure he's worked on it. And apart from Derek Lewis, he's submitted almost everybody he's fought, I think. So, yeah, he might be able, maybe he can find a submission on Curtis Blaydes, but Curtis Blaydes is a good grappler too. So, if Curtis Blaydes is able to defend the takedowns, which he very possibly could, and just he could piece him up on the feet. He could really beat him up on the feet. But all Jolton Almeida does, because he can hold you down. So if Jolton Almeida just gets one takedown in the first round and then another takedown in the third or second round and just lays on him for that round, he could win. So this is a fight where Jolton Almeida could easily stink it up and win, or maybe he could find a submission. Maybe he takes him down, grabs his neck, and chokes him out. It's definitely possible. But it's definitely possible that Curtis Blaydes pieces him up on the feet, or maybe even a failed takedown attempt, and Curtis Blaydes gets on top of Jolton Almeida. So this is a tough fight to pick. You know, I'm gonna go with Jolton Almeida because Curtis Blaydes always does the wrong thing in these type of fights. Like with Sergey Pavlovich, he waited so long to shoot a takedown. Why did he wait that long? Why did he try and strike with Sergey Pavlovich? I feel like Curtis Blaydes is probably gonna try and grapple Jolton Almeida, and he might get caught in a submission, or Jolton Almeida will just beat him up on the ground. So this is a 50-50 fight. But if I have to pick, I'm going with Jolton Almeida. But I'm not confident. I just have a feeling Curtis Blaydes might win this one, but I'm gonna pick Jolton Almeida. It's definitely a 50-50 fight, though. Look at the odds. I mean, they're almost dead even, but I'll give Jolton Almeida the slight edge. I think the odds have slight edge for Jolton Almeida on the odds, but that's who I'm going with, Jolton Almeida. Peter Yan versus Song Yudong. I'm going with Peter Yan. Peter Yan, he's got some great striking. If you just let's look at his losses. He lost to Merab, but Merab is a completely different fighter than Song Yudong. Merab just put a crazy pace on him, and Peter Yan couldn't handle it. Song Yudong can't put on that pace. Song Yudong isn't Merab. That's not happening. Then he lost a very close decision to Sean O'Malley, who I think is a better striker than Song Yudong. And he's a lot taller, a lot rangier, which Peter Yan could struggle with. Man, I think this could be a good fight, but if you look at the ground game too, I think Peter Yan's a little bit better on the ground. I mean, Song Yudong showed some good grappling in his last fight against Chris Gutierrez, but even in that fight, he wasn't super impressive. He did hurt Chris Gutierrez at a couple points, but he wasn't even able to find the finish. I think with Peter Yan, I think this fight's going to be on the feet most of the fight. Maybe both of them will try and mix some takedowns, but I think both of them can defend each other's takedowns. Or, honest, if anyone's landed the takedown, I see it being Peter Yan. But I think he's going to try and strike, because Song Yudong did show some good grappling in his last fight. So the fight will probably take place on the feet, and it'll be a good fight. I think this will be a very, very entertaining fight. But I think Peter Yan will just get the better of him on the feet. Peter Yan's got some very good striking. And I don't think Song Yudong's O'Malley. I just don't think he's as good as O'Malley. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. Maybe he'll catch Peter Yan and clip him and knock him out. But I just see Peter Yan winning this one. Alright, so the next fight on the card, Gilbert Burns versus Jack Della Maina. This is another fight that could easily be 50-50. You got Jack Della Maina, whose striking is perfect to hurting Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns really gets clipped by those straight shots. And the shots that Gilbert Burns gets clipped by, Jack Della Maina does him great. Jack Della Maina could easily drop Gilbert Burns on the feet. But Jack Della Maina showed a little bit of problems in his grappling. I could definitely see Gilbert Burns wrestling him to a decision, or maybe even finding a submission. If you look at if JDM doesn't try and fucking submit him every time Gilbert Burns shoots a takedown, maybe he'll win, but if I have to pick somebody, I'm going with Gilbert Burns. Jack Della Maina had a close fight with Basil Havis, and he got caught with a lot of shots by him. So maybe, even though on paper, if you look at their styles, Jack Della Maina should be able to clip Gilbert Burns and knock him out on the feet. Maybe Gilbert Burns could find some success. Maybe. But I see this fight, I could see it going down as a war. I feel like Jack Della Maina is definitely going to hurt him opponent in this fight. I think he's definitely going to drop him. Can he keep it on the feet and capitalize off hurting Gilbert Burns and knocking him out? Can he do that? I don't know. But I'm going to give the slight edge to Gilbert Burns. I think his grappling is going to be too much. I think the threat of the takedown may make Jack Della Maina vulnerable to some shots too. But I don't know. I think this is a fight as simple. If Gilbert Burns is able to take him down and have success on the ground, he'll win. If Jack Della Maina is able to keep it on the feet, just strictly on the feet, I think he'll definitely beat Gilbert Burns. His striking is just perfect to knock Gilbert Burns out. But Gilbert Burns' grappling is perfect to submit Jack Della Maina. Gilbert Burns got some good grappling, man. I could definitely see him finding a submission in this fight, but I'll give the edge to Gilbert Burns. But a competitive fight, I wouldn't be surprised if Jack Della Maina won. Alright, moving up the card, Kevin Holland versus Michael Venom Page. Michael Venom Page coming from Bellator, making his UFC debut. This is definitely a big step up in competition, but I got Michael Venom Page beating Kevin Holland. Now, Kevin Holland is a good fighter. You know, for being a number 13 ranked, I think he's pretty good. Like, he could definitely be ranked a lot higher in the division. He definitely has a lot of winnable fights above him. But Michael Venom Page is just a crazy striker, man. Both of these guys have knockout ability. But Kevin Holland, his chin's pretty good, so it's going to be a little hard for Michael Venom Page to find a knockout. But if anybody can knock out someone with a very good chin, Michael Venom Page will be the guy to do it. So I feel like Michael Venom Page, he's just going to outstrike Kevin Holland and win a decision. I think it could be competitive at points, but man, I trust the team at London Shoot Fighters, man. I'm a big fan of London Shoot Fighters, so I'm going to go with Michael Venom Page winning a decision, 30-27. But, man, Kevin Holland's a good fighter. I think both of these guys will be good after the fight, but I like both of them a lot. But if I have to pick, I'm going with Michael Venom Page. Or not even if I have to pick. I'm pretty confident in Michael Venom Page to just land the more significant shots, push the pace, and win a decision. Maybe even a knockout. You know, if somebody can knock out Kevin Holland, it's Michael Venom Page. So Michael Venom Page by late KO or a decision. So that's who I'm picking for this fight, Michael Venom Page. Next fight, Benoit-Saint-Denis versus Dustin Poirier. This is a fight that I'm honestly probably most excited for on the card. Dustin Poirier, I'm just going to say it straight up, Dustin Poirier I think is winning this one. Benoit-Saint-Denis, his best win right now is over Matt Frevola. Now Matt Frevola is a decent fighter, but Dustin Poirier is a huge step up in competition. I feel like Dustin Poirier is going to weather the storm early. I think they're going to trade on the feet maybe a little bit, but Benoit-Saint-Denis is probably going to go for the grappling. He might land a takedown or two, but Dustin Poirier, he's not horrible on the ground. He can probably hold his own for a little bit on the ground. Benoit-Saint-Denis probably is a better grappler, but I don't see him being able to easily finish Dustin. So Dustin Poirier will weather the storm early. I think it'll be a little bit of a war early, but I think Dustin Poirier will start to take on as the fight goes on. I think he'll either school Benoit-Saint-Denis and win a decision, or maybe a late TKO. But probably a decision. I'm going with Dustin Poirier, unanimous decision, banger fight. But Dustin Poirier starts to put damage on him at the end. Dustin Poirier's been around. He knows what to do. He's been in this position before. He's fought Dan Hooker, and that was a great fight, but Dustin Poirier won it. So I think it's going to be a similar fight to that. Not stylistically, but just it being a great fight where Dustin Poirier starts to batter him. Going up the card, the main event, Sean O'Malley versus Chito Vera. I got Sean O'Malley in this fight. If you look at Chito Vera's last fight, he struggled with Pedro Munoz, and Sean O'Malley just fucking knocked out Aljamain Sterling. Now, I get styles make fights, but I think this fight's going to take place on the feet, and Sean O'Malley's a difficult guy to deal with on the feet. He's got amazing striking, tall, rangy, powerful, he can clip you. Now, Chito Vera's got a good chin, but Sean O'Malley's got some good hands, too. I don't see Sean O'Malley being able to finish him. Chito Vera's never been finished, I don't think. So I don't see Sean O'Malley being able to finish him, but I think he'll piece him up to a decision. Now, what Chito Vera does have in this fight is Sean O'Malley doesn't have the best gas tank. In that Peter Yan fight, even though that was a very high pace, he gassed out in only like the third round. Maybe a little bit in the second round too. This is a 5-round fight, and Chito Vera's not going anywhere. I don't see him getting knocked out. So as the fight starts to go on, maybe he could catch the 4th or 5th round, or maybe he could even catch O'Malley in the last round. Maybe O'Malley will be super tired and he'll unload on him, or maybe he'll head kick him like he did to Dominic Cruz, or just land one big shot and knock Sean O'Malley out. Because Chito Vera throws, man. He's always looking for that knockout. And if Sean O'Malley's very gassed, he could catch him. But I think Sean O'Malley knows that Chito Vera is probably going to go to the decision. He knows that Chito Vera is tough. I don't think he's relying on getting it early finished. I think he'll be okay in the last couple of rounds. Maybe he'll lose the fourth and fifth round, but he's definitely going to win the first, second, and third. And I see Sean O'Malley picking up a decision over Chito Vera. I feel like it's either going to be a mediocre decision where Sean O'Malley doesn't do a lot and he manages his cardio very well and kind of wins the Izzy decision, like an Izzy Jared Cannonier kind of fight, maybe something like that. Or I feel like Sean O'Malley's just going to put an absolute beating on him, like Max Holloway, Calvin Kattar, like that type of beating. And Chito Vera's just going to take it. He's going to eat the shots. But I see Sean O'Malley winning a unanimous decision either way. No matter how it plays out, if it's like Sean O'Malley just pulls a fucking Sean O'Malley pulls a Izzy and just leg kicks him at range and just fucking wins a boring decision, or if he batters the shit out of him, I think it'll be a unanimous decision, a clear win for O'Malley. But let me know what you guys think of my picks. Put in the comments if you guys disagree. Put your picks in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, all that.